Innovation Podcast. My name is Aisha, and we are doing this podcast with our sponsor, Curious Otter Scientific. And I'll be introducing our guest speaker for today. But before I start with that, I just wanted to mention that we are pretty close to July 4th. And July, the beginning of July, already reminds me of Independence Day, fireworks, and all these things. I don't know how it might be where you're from, where we're thinking that a lot of people might see this around the world. So if you're listening in from another country, please let us know how independence is celebrated in your context. But here in the United States, Independence Day is only one day. So it will be just July 4th. And it's a federal holiday, which means that private companies can continue working if they choose to do so. Thankfully, here we will have free. So I'm really excited about that. And to start off talking, or before we start talking about our podcast for today, I want to introduce our guest. His name is Franco Arias, and he's the co-founder of Curious Otter Scientific. He was born in Chile and has been living here in the U.S. for about 30 years already. And he has a lot of experience in laboratory and medical supplies and the environment as well, the work culture. Apart from that, he has many hobbies, and one of those is volunteering with Boy Scouts and his local church. So, Franco, thank you so much for being with us here on this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so talking about July 4th, right? The first question I want to ask you is, what is your favorite thing about 4th of July?
Well, definitely hamburgers and I guess the whole celebration, especially the fireworks. I think it's definitely something that pops up immediately when I remember the 4th of July.
Yeah, I love hamburgers. I think, you can eat them at any time of the year, but it has something special eating it around this time and seeing everyone wearing red, white, and blue, the fireworks, all of that is so special. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to also start asking you maybe some questions about what it means to be a small business owner here in the U.S. Since we're getting close to 4th of July, we were thinking, what could we talk about? And we thought, hey, why not talk about all the benefits and the gifts that it is to have a small business here in the U.S. So before we talk about that, I would like to ask you what was like the big aha moment, or the moment where you decided that you wanted to open your own small business?
It really happened as a process. And so as you said, I'm a co-founder, and the other co is my wife. And so we are both from Chile, and amazingly, both of us have families that have businesses. So we grew up in this environment, and it became something natural that sooner or later we would be involved in business. And so it's a process, and I think for everyone, it is a process. But if we really want to point out to a situation, an aha moment, it happened when I was going through my graduate studies. I was doing a master's in engineering management, and they have a lot of business classes there. And so one of the classes, the information that was given there, it was like amazing for me. It was like really an eye opener. And, because of those, recollection of studies and things, it was like, oh, I'm ready. It was, what am I waiting for? Sort of thing. And so I shared that with my wife, and it was almost like, oh yeah, we need to do this. So that started the whole thing. Well, yes, it was that click or aha moment, as you rightly said.
It's so cool to hear, because I think I really like hearing how your past or your family background comes into play with all of this. Because I think for many people, starting a business could be something really scary.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, not everyone has so like a firsthand experience. Usually, when you start a business, it's the first time you're doing something like that. That's why you're starting a business. Whether it's with a partner or alone, but it's still a very scary endeavor. So it's really interesting how your family also background, and just the experience of both of you having that um, small business environment at home made it an easier transition, or made it a reality.
Mm. Yeah, and talking about the fears that one has for opening a new business, it's really it just goes with the territory. I mean, when are you ready to start? You if you if your fears are just so huge, you are never going to be ready. So when are you actually ready? What are the things? Each situation, each family, it's a unique thing. Um, so at the beginning, I think that the financial part for sure, sure, because you don't know, where's the money gonna come? Is it gonna be enough for us to survive? And it really happened that we opened our business right before the big bubble, housing bubble, and so we didn't know that was going to happen. We saw the environment, of course, yes, but we were really not part of it. Thank God, we were, and so when it when it, I think it was a divine appointment that we didn't know, and so we decided to go ahead. And little by little, you realize that those fears that everyone has to start up a business will accompany you throughout your business, and 20, 30 years is the same thing. Where are your customers? Where's the financing part? Do you have it within you, or you had to apply to a bank, or you had to ask money to family members? And that's always the case, and so if someone fears that, I mean, it's just a question of studying a little bit and seeing the real scenario, seeing your market, and that really helps you. So that, I think that summarizes the part of the field.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so a lot of fears that happen when one is about to start or is starting their own business. And you mentioned the recession. I think today we're also in a similar spot as a nation, and I think worldwide we're seeing the economy is struggling. So this would be an interesting topic. I think an interesting episode for many small business owners today, and it's very relevant today because of all the things that we're living as a nation. So that, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think we'll keep on diving maybe a little bit more into those questions. But could you give us maybe some background as to your small business? What do you guys do? Or like, I mean, so curious is the sponsor of this podcast, but I would love for you to introduce or share about the company with our listeners.
Absolutely, yes. So, to talk about that, I need to tell you, where I'm coming from.
Yes.
So I'm an industrial engineer. I graduated here in Florida International University. Proud.
Me too.
And so, again, we come from family background, but when I got here to Miami, I was given the chance to work in a research laboratory. I was working at Miami Heart Research Institute for 3 years. I was a research technician there, so I was exposed to all the lab equipment and procedures. I was doing tissue culture there, and I didn't know because I was very young, but the things that we know now as like the PCR and all that was just developing at that moment. and we were using PCR in our procedures. And so I was exposed to all of that wonderful laboratory world while I was studying at FIU, my undergraduate studies. So I was studying English too, because that's not my first language. The laboratory that I was working on closed down, and research is always underfunded, unfortunately. So I had to move on to something else, and I moved to the business area. And then from the business area, I was working there like for 3 years, and then I moved to a company that did all what we're doing, which is selling laboratory equipment and medical supplies. So there is a whole world of experience, learning, and that happened throughout the years while I was getting my undergraduate studies. And so that's what we do. Kirio Soto Scientific sells laboratory equipment, medical equipment, and supplies. Mainly, at the beginning, it was mainly to other distributors. And little by little now we are selling, everywhere, to schools, universities. Moms show up here worried that they need a test tube for the kids to do an experiment at school. And so, yes, we don't mind. We open up, boxes and other cases, and because we were parents too and little kids. So, we definitely, with our community, we're part of it, definitely, yes. And we love it. That's really, we want to be known for serving our community. And we acknowledge that, we receive businesses from the local community, and at the same time, we give out, whatever we can.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for sharing a little bit of your own background and the story of the business. So you sell lab and medical equipment and supplies, not only to big companies or hospitals or distributors, but you also give to any individual that wants to pass by and either buy in store or online. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And parents come here. We're not, this is not like a retail store.
Yeah.
But parents come here desperate with their little kids. And let me tell you, we love that. And whenever someone shows up with their kids, we have something to give them, if it's a little test tube or something small. Yeah. And those kids are, they go out, from this office fascinated, happy. And that sort of engagement is the one that we want, And that minor thing or minor detail that we do with the kids, we do it with all our customers,
Yeah.
We definitely put ourselves in their shoes, and we want our customers to feel well served, just as when we go out and, have dinner or we want to be well served. And everyone deserves good service.
Yeah.
And believe me, when someone just unexpectedly shows up here in the office, it's a feast. It's a party in that respect, because we do appreciate people, taking notice of us, and so they're treated like kings and queens.
Well, there's an invitation for all of you, right? If you're out there and you're listening to this podcast and you ever pass by Miami, or you live in Miami or just the South Florida region, you're completely invited to come and visit us. We have a small location, but it's homey, and you will be welcomed with open arms. We will offer you coffee and have a chat or something like that. So there's a little invitation out there. Just throwing it out.
Well, if people look up our Google reviews, they're consistent.
It's true. We have a lot of good. Check out our Google reviews, and if you want to give us a review, we'd greatly appreciate it. But going back maybe to the topic of being small business owners, so you mentioned all these things. So even the invitation of like being able to have customers here, big and small, right, that are looking for maybe the smallest thing, to the biggest equipment, and being able to be flexible, all these things that you have mentioned already. What do you think are maybe some other pros to being a small business owner? Like what are some things that you really enjoy? Because you got the experience of working at another business and maybe trying the corporate ladder, and now you're with your own business. Well, when you compare both experiences, what do you enjoy most about being a small business owner?
Oh, well, in the context of the Independence Day and freedom, that's really comes to mind. The freedom of doing business here in the U.S. is absolutely has no comparison. We have such a support. It's a context of the small business is actually driving the economy. It's not just a slogan, it's a reality. I mean, we're not paid by the government to say these things, it's just the context, the business environment here in the U.S. It's so good for the small business owner. You at the beginning, I remember we had the support of the Small Business Administration. There is virtually classes for everything that you need. And I mean, let's just compare. If you have an idea and if you want to start up a business, technically you don't have to register that with the state. It's best if you do it, right? You're covered. You have divided your business with your person, right?
Yeah.
And that's always healthy. But the government doesn't go after you if you don't have that, because they do it because it's best for you, So let's say you just want to try something and you just, I want to see, I just want to see how this works. As long as you pay your taxes, everything is cool, and you have invoices, right? And no, I don't recommend that because, everything now it's just one thing. But I know for sure in other part of the world, right, in other contexts, Latin America or Europe, that will be very difficult, to start up something from home. And let's just put it this way, with business, we're traders, right? And we are wholesalers. And we can sell laboratory equipment, medical equipment, as we could also sell photography, cameras. But in other parts of the world, it's defined. You sell this,
Cameras.
right? Only cameras, or you sell only scientific equipment, but you can't sell something else, right? And they go after you, and so that is completely free here. Again, as long as you pay your taxes and you do what you need to do, filing papers with the state and the government, it's the minimum. I mean, what else can you do, And so, so when I see that for the small business owners, there is so much freedom, so much help, support from the system. The system is not against you. The system is actually for you. They want you to succeed. And so what else do you need, to become a successful business owner, right? And then, well, if you don't know it, they help you because they have classes. On top of that, they have experts. The Small Business Administration have volunteers that are experts in many fields. And if the person that you're dealing with don't know, that person doesn't know, then they will direct you to someone. And believe me, they are experts. I remember just talking on a little sample. We're trying to see if our website was doing well or not. They connected us to someone at FIU that works with the Small Business Administration. And this guy was just like a pro. He went through our website and he dissected us,
That can be
and it was a little bit painful because you treasure your things, right? It was like, I thought it was doing good, but he was honest, and we needed that honesty. and that helped us tremendously to improve our website.
Mhm.
I mean, take that to every aspect of your business,
Yeah.
and you have the support of the Small Business Administration and some other organizations,
Mm.
right? There are local business organizations also that give free classes, and I mean, whatever help that you want and you need, you actually can find it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something that you mentioned, like the idea of the system, right? So I think apart from what the government offers, which is obviously the SBA. If you have not heard of the SBA, we will be saying and repeating this many times, right? Because the SBA is amazing. And I think if you're a small business owner, you're completely an SBA fan because of all the things that they provide. But that's kind of on the government side. Apart from that, I think even on the private side, there's so many programs that are being offered by private companies, by banks that want you to succeed because they succeed. They like the economy here respects small business owners because it knows that it runs on small business owners. And sometimes we say, or we hear in the ads, right, that America runs on Dunkin'. I think it's more that America runs on small businesses,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
So, and you can see that even in the culture. So even small business owners having their own communities and places of networking, and being able to share with other small business owners their struggles or the things that they are learning together, and having that aspect of I'm not alone, which can be sometimes a reality for people that are starting off their business. That we're getting close to the end of our conversation here, but I would like to ask you, how do you think your business completes or fulfills your vision of the American dream, as you might describe it?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So I think there is a general understanding of what the American dream is, and I think everyone is entitled to have that. I have my own. Yeah. So to me, the American dream is in that, and being able to break up, the historical things in your past, even as a family. My family was involved in business, but it wasn't a major business. It was just a little tiny thing. In my context where I grew up, moving away or, scaling up to something bigger was almost impossible. And that the American dream provides me that hope to have a different journey than my parents. I mean, in Latin America, if you grew up in a business family, and big, most likely you will continue that legacy, right? But if you are in the lower ranks, you will continue in the lower ranks. It's extremely difficult to move up. So the American dream to me is being able to move out of that and having the hope of something different. I wouldn't say, I'll conquer the world, maybe that's not really something that I want. Not that it's not possible, but I want something a little bit different, being able to just move out, having the opportunity. And I'm going to give you a little example of that. When we started up the business, so I contacted some vendors that I knew personally, and they said, "Hey, look, I started I explained the whole thing. I started my own company." First, they were kind of about, "Oh, so you started a new company?" I thought where you were working, it was your company. No, I was manager there, but you made it look like it was your company. I was super glad to hear that. That's what you want from an employee. And so when I asked for terms, without question, I was giving net 30 days. Some of them asked me to fill out the application, but in many cases, because of this working relationship that I have with them, and because they knew my performance and the whole thing, it was so easy for them to say, go ahead. You have your net 30 days with us. Yeah. And, I felt so accomplished. That's my American dream. Given the chance. All I need is a chance.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they have so much talent. All they need, it's a chance. That's my American dream.
Yeah, thank you. So I also think when I hear you talk about your vision of the American dream, of being able to grow, to scale, to dream, even the idea to dream of what you could do as a business. I guess I want to finish with that question. What are your hopes and dreams for your business? Maybe, like in this year and what's left of it.
Well, the same, in the context of the celebration of the independence, I think when we're giving a gift, like the freedom we have to do business here, we have to take that gift with caution, because some people have taken that to an extreme, that gift become a curse. And what I mean is that, what is really our definition of success? And so my definition of success is being able to have the opportunity to grow as business to the point that doesn't interfere with what I do with my family, with my kids. I don't want that to be a conflict. I want to transfer this vision to my kids. And so they and my family see this as, this is something that I want to carry on, not the competition. Now, if my kids see this business as a competition for attention, for a lot of other things, right? I think I failed. I don't want that. I want this to be just enough for us to complete our vision as a family. And whatever my kids want to do after that, it's on their own, right? But at least I gave them the tools. I gave them the know-how. And we can teach our kids that there are things that you can't live without, right? And so that's my definition of success. And I take that freedom, and I appreciate it, and I embrace it, and I put some boundaries, because I want that freedom to continue to be freedom and not a cell. It's not something that I am enclosed. Oh no, this is definition of success. If you do this much, if you sell this much a year, if you have this or that house or this or that. I don't want to be encapsulated by that definition of freedom. I want to take that, appreciate it, and run with what it's good for my dream.
Thank you so much, Franco, for sharing and for joining us here today. And yes, I hope you have a great 4th of July, and we'll be seeing you again here at the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.